What do you want to tell us about Jughead?
Jughead is the narrator of this show. He is a strange outsider type character. Jughead's always been anti-authority. He's always been on the fringes of society. He's definitely a nonconformist type. He's also a budding writer and amateur sleuth. So he's trying to figure out what's going on in Riverdale, especially with the recent murder. And he's really kind of he's the boots on the ground, the one who's trying to figure out what's going on.
So you mentioned the murder.
Yeah.
Do we know how, does the pilot say how the character died?
I don't want to spoil it too much, but at the end of it, there is a gunshot wound. But there's a fog of exactly what went down and what happened, so that's what I'm trying to figure out.
How did you become attached to this?
To the project itself?
Yeah. You took a break off.
I did, yeah. I took a break from acting, and I didn't actually really anticipate coming back at all. But I really liked the project. When I was given the sides to read, there was basically 3 pages of just solid monologue. And I thought this would be challenging. And I really like Jughead as a character. I think he's really cool, especially in this. This show is very film noir, which is something I'm not familiar with as an actor at all. I mean, at least acting in it, I haven't done professionally. And so I wanted to try that out. I think Jughead's a cool, weird, creepy character, and that's also fun. But I also come from a comic book background. I used to get really angry and incendiary when people would mess with the properties I loved a lot. And one of the cool things about the Archie universe is there's so many universes. Like there's Afterlife with Archie, the Predator comes, the Punisher comes to Archie. There's so many universes that it removes a lot of that incendiary dialogue that takes place with most comic properties. And I think the fans are primed for a cool new take on a modern film noir, teen drama, brick like Archie. It's going to be solid. And that's really, I'm coming at it like a fan, to be quite honest. I'm excited to get to work.
What do you think is key to keeping Archie true enough to the comics that fans like please?
I think the love triangle is definitely one of the fundamental points. I think the Easter egg characters that are going to exist, I think we really do. I like to think of Archie as a cast of actors that through the comics and this show are just constantly being thrown in. They're like a theater troupe. They're just constantly being thrown into a bunch of different environments. We have Moose, we have Midge, we have Dilton, we have all the characters, the side characters that you know and love. We have all the locations, but it's just, so that's fundamentally the same, but the tone is different and the gravity of the drama in the town is different. So I also think this is an Archie property because one of the lead creative directors of the actual Archie comic books is our executive producer. Is writing every episode. I mean, it's not like we got some schmo off the street who came in and were like, "Do you know about Archie? Can you write it?" No, this is the biggest fan of the comics, who's also responsible for Afterlife. I mean, he's the guy. To say this would not be an Archie property would be silly because he's the one in charge of all the Archie properties anyhow. So it can't be divorced.
We can kind of tell that you're a fan of the Archie comics. Are you more Team Betty or Team Veronica?
Okay. I don't think Jughead even thinks like that.
Forget Jughead then. What are you?
Me, personally, I'm Team Betty. Cole is definitely Team Betty. Girl next door, kind of... She to me has always been the one that sort of redefines the classic trope of femininity within Western society. She's like the mechanic and the tomboy, and I think that personally I really like that side. But Jughead's not. I don't think that's even a thought past cheeseburgers for him. I don't.
Well, in one of the Archie iterations recently,
he's asexual.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that you mentioned that. Yeah, first off, I'm a huge proponent of that kind of representation. That's my bread and butter. I think that's really awesome. That was a comic universe of Archie, of Jughead, by Chip Zdarsky. And I know that this show is definitely pulling more off of the Mark Waid, Fiona Staples version of Archie, if we're to liken our universe to anything like that. So his sexuality is not well defined in the Mark Waid one, And in this, it hasn't been defined yet either.
So
but
it's not something you're bringing to the character.
Until otherwise noted by our creative director, our EP, that Jughead is taking the stance on any form of sexuality, I wouldn't say that he would be asexual.
Okay.
But I'm stoked that I can bring to life that dialogue in any way, shape, or even if in a brief interview. I think that's so awesome. And I think it'll definitely be mentioned. I would be surprised if it's not.